Philadelphia.
Yeah, great. I see a lot of friends from Singapore, Hong Kong, Texas, LA, New York. Wow, Canada. Great. Yeah. Oh, and also Pro for You and Ultra. Wow, Toronto. So how amazing, right? Such amazing. Thanks to science and technologies, now all of our Nu Skin families and friends can be connected together in one place just by one link, right? And then okay, without by one link, then we didn't have any location and time problems. So that's amazing, right? Oh, so awesome. So welcome again. My name is Jin Lee from EMBA Legacy Team. I located in LA right now. I am your host today. I'm so excited because it's my first time to be the host in such a huge group. And I'm a bit nervous. If I can have some flowers, that I will be, help. So is there any flowers for me? Okay. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna introduce myself very quick. All right. Okay. Okay, great. Anybody see my screen now? I guess yes. Yeah, great. Thank you. So I am a full-time housewife for about 11 years. And after I resided from my job as a manager in charge of 2 departments before, which were finance and administration. And I achieved my master and bachelor degrees of business management in the UK. How time flies, right? Wow, so long story short, I'm now here with Nu Skin today. I am a big fan of all of our amazing products. I use Lumi Spa at least twice a day, and then I take a TR90 every year, and I eat our fabulous dietary supplements every single day. Thanks so much for our excellent scientists, because every single product from Nu Skin came from many years hard work, many years of research and development by them. How lucky we are. Yeah. So if you can see my next screen, that's my picture, that's me. So as you can see in the picture, I literally transformed it from the left side, which was in 2019, to the right side, a middle page. And then in just about half a year. So I'm so pleased. And my S3 scanner number is 75,000. That's for me, it's a huge number. So I can't think of a perfect word to explain how I feel, because for me, health is worthless. I hope you do think the same as me. And thanks to our great team, EMBA Legacy, and our team lead, Miss Carrie Zhang. She is our one-star team elite platinum and $1 million circle member, to give me this chance today to be the host for you. And then I'm so grateful, and then it's such an honor. Okay, but here we have to send many thanks to Miss Margaret Song and Dr. Patrick Song, our 20 million circle member in Nu Skin. Because of their invitation, today we are able to have one of our excellent Nu Skin scientists with us, Dr. Mark Bartlett. He is our Vice President of Global Research and Development in Nu Skin. What a great pleasure, right? Okay, before I invite Dr. Mark Bartlett to the screen, let me give everybody a brief introduction of he has been with Nu Skin for over 20 years. Well, 20 years of time. Okay. He was being intrigued with science since his childhood. He read encyclopedias for entertainment when he was 7 years old. Wow, this is how scientists come from. So I'm already putting down this book to my kids' next birthday gift. Did you guys write it down? You know. Okay, yeah, let's get back to the subject. He has degrees in biochemistry and organic chemistry from Australian National University and a PhD in immunology and cell biology from the John Curtin School of Medical Research in Canberra, Australia. He also studied the role of blood platelets in heart disease and helped to publish the first scientific report of a biochemical link between cigarette smoking and atherosclerosis. Wow, it's amazing. Dr. Mark Bowler is an expert in many areas, such as immunology, inflammation, and autoimmunity, also antioxidants and phytonutrients, also lipids and fatty acids, as well as pro and prebiotics. He is also a member of many professional associations, such as Council of Responsible Nutrition Senior Scientific Advisory Council and Nutrition Business Journal Editorial Advisor Board, and the American Association of Immunologists, and the Australian Society of Immunologists, and the American Association for Advancement of Science, as well as, at least but not less, and New York Academy of Science. Wow, how amazing. Such an incredible person. And then we can have him with us today. Okay, today he will share with us 3 of our excellent dietary supplements of Nu Skin, which is we call the Golden Triangle, where they are Lifepak Nano, Youth, and R2. So, okay, right now, let's use plenty of flowers and show your clap hands, and then let us invite Dr. Mark Bowler to the screen. Hello, Dr. Mark.
Hello, thank you.
How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me to this meeting. This is lots of fun.
This is such an honor to have you here with us today. Let me go close my screen that you can share yours.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
So Sandy, what time would you like me to finish?
Well, you know, take your time. We can, you know, we would like to have, you know, everything you have. So just take your time.
Okay. Well, I hope we can make it fun. So would you like me to share my screen?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. All right. You just need to, I guess I'll just.
You see it.
You got it?
Yeah,
good.
Great.
All right. Well, thanks everyone again for inviting me. 大家好, and I will speak English, but I'll try to speak slowly because I know somebody is translating for me, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. If you could slow down just a little bit, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Great.
So let's make this fun. You've asked me to talk about the golden triangle of products, right? And I understand that to be Lifepak Nano and also Youth, right?
Yes. And R2. That's what I have.
Squared. All right, perfect. I think I can talk about those. But rather than just talking about each of the products sort of and what they do, I thought I would give you some perspective, some background about how we do the research at Nu Skin. Each of those products is really focused on nutrition and anti-aging. And, when you think about how does a company, how do scientists go about studying anti-aging, it doesn't seem like an easy task. Where do you begin? So I'd like to share with you today our systematic approach. Now, before I start, maybe I'll share with you a little bit about my background. I am from Australia, and in Australia, born in the outback Australia, a little country town. We did not have inside toilet when I was young. We had to go out the back.
Like in China before.
Yes. And even my grandparents who lived in the outback had no running water, no electricity. So we had a fire, we had lanterns, we had water from the roof. So I'm used to kind of a primitive life. And the insects and spiders and snakes in Australia are all very poisonous. So somehow that always made me very interested in natural things, in plants and what they can do for us. We moved to the city of Sydney, where, like you said, we were not a very wealthy family, but we did have encyclopedias. So I loved to learn, and finally was very happy to be able to study. And I'm always, again, fascinated with the concept of what nature has to offer to make us healthy. And I'm also very interested in the aging process. So here we are, I'm standing with 3 of my kids here, and there's a man with us, and his name is Frank. And I'm fascinated by Frank because he ages so well. I first met him riding a motorcycle. I ride a motorcycle, so I'm in a motorcycle club, and there's a new guy who joins the group, and he's riding a big silver bike. And I said, "Hey, who's that?" And my friend said, "Oh, that's Frank. He's still riding a motorcycle, even though he is 90 years old." And I said, "What? He's 90 and he has this big motorcycle? He is aging very well." And, I made sort of friends with him. He's a very interesting man. And about 10 years later, in my neighborhood, we have an old people's sort of assisted living facility, a home. And my children and I and my wife, we like to visit there and chat with the old people. And one day we walked in there, and there is my friend Frank. I'm like, "What? He's still alive. It's like 10 years later." And so in this picture, he is 101 years old.
Wow.
And you can see he's very healthy. He can walk, he can talk. And I did ask him one day, "So Frank, how come you are so healthy? Not only are you old, but you're also very healthy. You're more healthy and active maybe than some people that are 30 years younger than you." And he said, "Well, my secret is nutrition and also not eating too much." And I thought that's very interesting because that is something that we study at Nu Skin. And so let me share with you how we go about studying aging. And the first thing that we look at is nutrition science. Right? Nutrition science, you may think it's just about being healthy, but it actually is also about aging well. And let me share with you what I mean by this. I don't know if you understand or have heard before the word triage. It's a word that is used a lot in hospitals and in nursing. And triage was actually invented by the surgeon that worked with Napoleon Bonaparte. And it was a brilliant idea. And the idea is basically like this. If you have a hospital and suddenly you are overrun by a lot of patients, maybe there's a big accident, maybe there's an earthquake or a train crash, and suddenly there are lots of patients that turn up at the door. So how do you organize those patients? Well, what we do is we have a triage nurse, and the nurse divides people into 3 groups. The people who are so seriously injured that it would take a lot of surgeons a lot of time to fix that person. And the next group would be those people who with immediate care and a fairly simple solution, you can save their life. And then the third group is the group that, they don't have serious injuries. And in that way, the hospital can determine the best and fastest way to help the most people. Well, it turns out that our body does a similar thing with nutrition. So when our body is faced with a shortage of an essential nutrient, then it will decide where to send that nutrient so that it will do the most good. So let me give you an example. Because most people sort of fall into a category of not getting quite enough of the nutrients they need. And by nutrients, I mean things like vitamin A, the B vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin E, maybe calcium, magnesium, iron, right? So we try to eat a good diet, but the surveys and the studies, big studies in America and Asia and Europe, they all tell us that we don't get quite enough that we should be getting every day. So again, let's talk about calcium. If you don't get quite enough, then what happens? I think most of you know. If for most of your life you don't get quite enough calcium, what happens? Maybe you have issues with bone density, right? And there's a condition called osteoporosis, and we don't want to have that. Now you may ask, well, then what happens to the calcium that you do eat? Well, the body has to make decisions. The body will make a decision to send the calcium to the systems of the body that need it the most, the systems of the body that will keep you alive today. And that's not about bone density. It's actually about the brain and the muscles. You need calcium for nerve impulses. So you need calcium for your neuromuscular system. If you don't have enough calcium in the neuromuscular system, then you won't be able to think properly. You won't be able to move properly because every nerve impulse requires this calcium channel and all of the things that calcium does in the body. So the body knows, and the body says, well, to keep you alive today, I'm going to make sure that those urgent systems of the body, the brain, the muscles, will get calcium. What misses out? It's the bones that miss out. But you can still live a long life, but you will suffer as you get older. You won't age as well. So what's the solution, you ask? Make sure you get enough calcium so that you can have your muscles and your brain, but also your bone density. So that's how the body does triage. Let me give you another example. If you don't get enough B vitamins, what will happen? Well, B vitamins, they are cofactors, right? All of these micronutrients are cofactors, means they are helpers for the enzymes in your body that catalyze the chemical reactions of life. This is what biochemistry is all about. I think Patrick Sung, you are a doctor in biochemistry, right? So he understands all this. If you can't understand it, just call him later. He will explain it all to you. But these micronutrients, they are cofactors or helpers for these enzymes. Now, where do the B vitamins help? Well, they help extract energy from food, right? So all of the bioenergetics, all of your energy is assisted by the B vitamins. If you don't get enough of the B vitamins, you will feel sort of less energetic. Maybe you'll feel sluggish and slow, and so you need those B vitamins. Well, what else do the B vitamins do? The B vitamins also help in the repair enzymes for DNA. The DNA is being damaged every day. Those genes that you heard about in the video, they are subject to damage, and they are repaired constantly by enzymes that are assisted by B vitamins. So let's go back to the triage. If you are marginally deficient, if you don't get quite enough of the B vitamins, what will be the triage? The body will help you to get energy because that's what you need to survive today. You need energy for your muscles and your brain to stay alive. So the B vitamins will be sent to those systems, the energy systems. What will suffer? DNA repair. And if the DNA is not repaired properly, again, you won't age as well. So I hope you're starting to see the picture that nutrients, these micronutrients, and getting enough every day. This is going to be critical so that you can age well. And you may get away with it for a while when you're young, but as you age, you won't age as well if you don't have all of the micronutrients that you need. And this is why we have our product called Lifepak and Lifepak Nano. I've just got Lifepak Ordinary here, but Lifepak Nano, which is our most comprehensive and most scientifically advanced formula that gives you all of those nutrients. So it's several formulas in one: the bone formula, the eye formula, all of those things, the immune formula. All of those micronutrients are designed to be in the optimal amount so that your body does not have to do this triage, so that the hospital always has enough doctors and nurses. It doesn't matter what happens, you'll be able to age well and live well today. So that's what Lifepak is all about. So the next phase of aging, very important, is antioxidant science. And this is very closely, again, related to the Lifepak. Antioxidant science is really providing the antioxidants that we need to prevent free radical damage. And, 10 years ago, I would have had to sit down and explain to you, what is a free radical? What is an antioxidant? I think most of you know now. And it's very important to know that antioxidants actually also help you to age well, because they are fighting for you against free radicals that occur from nature, from pollution, and even from the, those energy reactions that I talked about in the body. They actually consume oxygen, and oxygen can be quite toxic. And there is sort of a metabolic exhaust, kind of like the exhaust that comes out of a car that's producing energy. And so antioxidants are required to help mop up that exhaust, keep all of your cells healthy and protected from free radicals. And there are lots of different kinds of antioxidants, like 8 different forms of vitamin E. And we consider the natural forms of vitamin E to be the best. Buffered vitamin C. Now, if you look at vitamin E and vitamin C, they are both antioxidants, but they're quite different. Vitamin E is lipid soluble, so it goes to the fatty parts of the body, which includes the cell membranes. So they will protect the cell membranes directly. Vitamin C is water soluble, and it's a strong antioxidant and will help protect the watery parts of your body, like inside the cell and just outside the cell. And actually, when vitamin E is used up, the vitamin C can help replenish it by giving it back electrons. Now, you're probably wondering, why do I have these minerals here? Selenium, copper, zinc, manganese. These are cofactors. Now, you remember the word cofactor means a helper of the enzymes. Well, it turns out the body also makes enzymes that protect you against free radicals. They're called endogenous antioxidants. And these are coded for by our genes. So the genes code for these antioxidant proteins. And do you know what Pac-Man is? You guys have Pac-Man in Taiwan and Singapore? Of course you do, right? It's like the little creature that eats the ghost. Well, that's what these proteins look like, but they have no teeth. And so what they need is a cofactor, something that goes in there to help basically give them teeth so that they can work. Selenium, copper, zinc, manganese, these are all cofactors or helpers for those endogenous antioxidants in the body. And most people actually don't get quite enough of these trace minerals. So we have to make sure that you get enough so that your body's natural free radical fighting proteins have the teeth that they need to work. And then there are carotenoids and other things that come from nature, from the green leafy vegetables, from the colorful fruits and vegetables. These are very important. I've got a picture of some of them here. Lycopene, which is red. You get it in your tomatoes or your watermelon. Lutein, which is yellow. You'll get it from green leafy vegetables. And beta carotene, that's the orange one from carrots and so on. It turns out that these are also very important. They're antioxidants that come from plants. You must every day eat a diet that's rich in color, fruits and vegetables. But also, if you're not getting quite enough, then we will provide those also as part of the list of antioxidants that you need in about the amounts and the proportions that you would get from a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. Now, how can we measure if you have enough? Well, Sandy mentioned earlier her scanner score, and that's something that we do. We have the biophotonic scanner that can help measure and help you to know if you have enough antioxidants in your diet or from your supplements. And if you change your lifestyle and start to eat more fruits and vegetables, you can measure the increase just as Sandy did. So congratulations, Sandy, 75,000. Awesome score.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so what's next? Gene science. You're probably wondering, when is he going to talk about genetics? Well, I hope that you can see here that all of these things work together. You need to have a good foundation of nutrition if you want to age well. You need to also, as part of that nutrition, have the antioxidants that you need. And so now the question is, what about our genes? And if we're talking about our genes in the context of aging, what does that mean? Because really, as you saw earlier, you have this strand of DNA, but the DNA is fixed for life, right? And in the DNA, you have all those genes that Joe Chang talked about, and each gene codes for a protein. So if the DNA does not change throughout your life, then you might think, well, there's nothing that you can really do except choose good parents. So did you choose good parents? When you were born, did you choose a parent that had good genes? Your mother, your father, they aged well, just like Frank? Well, of course, we didn't really have that choice, right? So the old paradigm might be that, aging is inevitable. There's nothing really you can do to influence the genes. Maybe you can influence nutrition. Maybe you can influence antioxidants, but can you influence your genes? Well, you have to sort of understand that these genes, each of the genes that code for the different proteins in your body, enzymes mostly, these genes each gene has kind of a dimmer switch. So let's talk about the next level of genetics. It's not about the structure of the DNA. Everyone has that, and we're born with slightly different genes. Not a lot of difference between us, like Joe Chang said, 1% difference. But that's enough to make us different, right? So you can have dark hair, or you can have blonde hair. You can have brown eyes, or you can have blue eyes. You can be tall, you can be short, or you can age well, or you can age not so well. Well, those other things, the aging well or not so well, are not all that dependent on the actual genes that you're born with, but they are dependent maybe upon the expression of those genes. And the first question is, does the expression of genes change as you age? So let's talk about that a little bit, shall we? Oops, I'm going the wrong direction. All right. So we have this thing called the gene chip. And the gene chip actually measures whether or not the gene, a particular gene, and there are 25,000 genes in your body, so is that gene turned on or turned off? So imagine a restaurant. Some of my favorite restaurants are the Chinese restaurants. So let's go there. So you have lots of different dishes at that Chinese restaurant. Now, how does the restaurant know which to serve? Maybe one day a whole bunch of people will come in and they will want beef and broccoli. So the chef has to make more beef and broccoli. So imagine that the genes, they're kind of like a recipe book. There are 25,000 recipes for Chinese food in this book. And the body can adapt. When there's a higher demand for beef and broccoli, you need to turn up the dimmer switch for that gene. If there's a lower demand for the beef and broccoli and a higher demand for Kung Pao chicken, then you need to be able to adapt as well. So the body's genes do adapt. And there are ways that we can measure whether or not a gene is expressed at a high level or a low level. And we do it with this gene chip. So we ask the question, as you age, does the gene expression change? Do some genes turn on more? Do some genes turn off? And if so, which genes and how much? And the way that we do that is by measuring the gene expression with the gene chip. So we actually did that experiment. Let me show you this experiment just right here. This is called a heat map. So what you see here is colors. Now, if it's green, then it means that the gene is less active. If it's red, it means that the gene is very active. And so the first experiment that we wanted to do was just looking at energy production, the genes that are involved in a part of the cell that produces energy. Why? Because as you age, one of the things that you notice the most, the soonest, is that you kind of lose energy, right? I have children who will jump on the trampoline all day. And, you know, I can jump on the trampoline for 15 or 20 minutes and I'm getting pretty tired already, right? It's kind of a thing that happens as we age, our energy production becomes less efficient. So we thought, let's focus on that. This is a good sort of first pass experiment. So here, if you look at the rows are the different genes. And what we found is there are at least 52 genes, just for the purposes of this slide, 52 genes that do change in their level of expression as you age. On the left, we have young gene expression. And you can see about 2/3 of those genes are expressed at quite a low level, and 1/3 of those 52 genes quite high. Now, as the individual ages, you can see there's a switch. It changes. Those genes that were expressed at a low level are now high, and vice versa. So this showed us that you can actually see and measure changes in gene expression as you age. So with that information, which is really quite amazing, and we published some scientific papers on this, and this is a great breakthrough for us, because now we know maybe we can do something about aging. So if you had the results of this experiment, I'm talking to all of you, what would you do with these data? What's the next step? Well, let me share with you. The next step is really to screen for ingredients that might influence the gene expression, because we do know, just like in the restaurant, that your body adapts to change. It adapts to the food that you eat. It adapts to stress. It adapts to temperature. And it can do that at the genetic level by turning up or down the expression of certain genes. So we know that this is possible. So we screened for all sorts of ingredients that we knew had an effect on aging or health. For example, on the top left there, you see Cordyceps sinensis, a mushroom, kind of a mushroom that grows in the high plateaus of Nepal and that has been valued and worth more than its weight in silver for centuries in China. We have ginseng that we know is an interesting ingredient for energy, and all sorts of other things here. Now, what we're interested in is the natural chemicals that are found in these natural products. Broccoli, for example, is very rich in molecules that help with detoxification, things like indole-3 carbinol. Grapes have these polyphenols in them, in the seeds and in the skin. The pomegranate has a group of molecules called allagitannins. Orange has also bioflavonoids and all sorts of things in the skin and in the pulp. So we screened at least 50 different ingredients to see if they would influence gene expression. And now, so what we did was, in this experiment, we only looked at old individuals. These were old mice. So their gene expression pattern looked like this on the right. And we fed these individuals for 3 months, all sorts of different ingredients. And I want to show you 5 of the experiments. So here's ingredient 1 through 5. Now remember, these were fed to old mice. Now, did ingredient 5 work? I think you can see that it made no change. It still looks old. But what about ingredient 4? You can see that the gene expression pattern has changed in this older individual. Now it looks like the young gene expression pattern. So this then is how we were able to measure gene expression using the gene chip, screen for different ingredients that we would call anti-aging, and then come across a formulation that then can help to change the aging paradigm. And so as you can see, the new paradigm is that expression of age-related genes can be influenced back to a more youthful state. And this is really the foundation of this product that we call Vitality. And it's called Vitality for a reason, right? So this Vitality has, I will share with you, I'll go back. Vitality then, the 3 ingredients that influenced the most were cordyceps, ginseng, and pomegranate. And those other ingredients were also used for a different half of that, which we'll talk about some other time. So what's our next frontier? Well, let's talk about aging in a more general sense. I just have a few more slides to share with you. We know that we age, and as we age, all sorts of things happen. This is one of those apps. They're kind of fun. On your phone, right, you can find these apps that sort of make, you put in your photo, and then it shows you what you look as you age. And it's kind of fun, and my kids think it's a really fun app. And but as you get older, that doesn't become so much fun anymore. And you think, well, can I influence it? Can I help? Is there something bigger that we can do? Not just about energy production, but maybe the pace of aging. For example, Frank, you remember Frank, my friend? When he was 100 years old, and he finally died when he was 104. And he was still pretty healthy. I saw him on his birthday when he was 104, and he still looked pretty dang good, but he passed away in his sleep that night. And so in that sense, there's a couple of different ways that you can age. You can age gracefully, and you can be young like the top line, and then sort of fall away quickly. Or you can sort of, from kind of an earlier age, maybe middle age, just get less and less healthy and less vital. That's not the way we want to be, right? We want to be more like Frank, where you have a longer, let's call it youth span. You don't have to live to be 100, but you do want to be healthy as you can be all the days of your life. And so that's the goal. That's what we thought about when we started to then look even more broadly at gene expression. And we were very interested in work that had been done by certain scientists, one named Richard Weindrich, who is a scientist who understands the role of aging. And he did a lot of experiments showing that a very strict nutritional regimen can, in fact, help with this youth span or this health span. And so you can see this blue line here versus the red line. So the animals that he had on the red line were way more healthy and lived their curve was much more like the top curve, like the Frank curve. Let's call it the Frank curve, okay? So we were very encouraged by the experiments that we did. And in fact, it was Weindrich and Proller that introduced us originally to the gene chip. So we did a more global look at gene expression in the body. And what we were trying to find was, if you have this very, what does gene expression look like in typical aging? When you're just aging like, people that are on that bottom line that I showed you. Well, this is what the gene expression pattern looks like for typical aging, right? Now you can see here that there are thousands of genes involved. It's more complicated than the energy heat map that I showed you. Now, this experiment here, this is what it looks like when you're on that very strict nutritional regimen that leads to a sort of a healthier aging pattern. You can see that they're quite different, can't you? So, given this information, and now you know how to do it, right? The next step is to screen for ingredients that will help individuals to look more like the healthy aging pattern. And we had to use lots of different ingredients. And we did experiments in all different tissues of the body, the heart tissue, the brain, the liver, the muscle. This was a very big experiment that required thousands of these gene chips over a period of 6 years. And it was very expensive because guess how much one of these gene chips costs? Each gene chip is about $500. And then to do the work of that gene chip, it's another $500. So it's $1,000 every time you do one experiment. And we had to do hundreds of experiments over a period of 6 years. And we found different ingredients that worked very well in different tissues. And then we combined those ingredients into a formulation. an anti-aging formulation, an age-lock formulation, and then we tested those ingredients for gene expression patterns. Now, what do we want it to look like? We want it to look like healthy aging. And this is what the age-lock blend showed us. And in fact, the computer, the biostatistical programs that are very complicated, it's bioinformatics. That computer program was not able to tell the difference between healthy aging and the animals that were on this age-lock blend. So this was very exciting science for us. We finally had a blend of ingredients that were able to, in a sense, mimic that healthy aging, that strict nutritional regimen. So what's the next step? Well, we have to sort of study it and see, does it really have an impact in aging? And let's go back to the skin. The skin is the most visible, it's the largest organ, and it is actually a very good reflection of how well we are aging. So we did an experiment. We went to a dermatologist who does these kinds of studies, and we asked her to do this experiment with this ingestible product that we had formulated. Now, she warned us. She said, you know, it's not very easy for a nutritional sort of supplement type product to make a big impact on the skin that we can actually see. Well, maybe you could after a long period of time, but we had an experiment and we had a deadline of about 2 months. So we had 60 days to see if this supplement would work and it would look better than a placebo. So the dermatologist looked at various different aspects of the skin, radiance, texture, overall appearance. And let's look and see the difference after 2 months based on baseline and also placebo, the difference after taking the product for 2 months. So you can see that the dermatologist, without knowing who took the product, could see a difference in radiance and texture and overall appearance. And even people that were looking at their own skin saw a difference. Then there are also objective measurements done by machines. And so elasticity of your skin is really important. If you hold your skin, your hand out in front of you, and you just squeeze a piece of that skin like that for a couple of seconds and then let go, how quickly does that skin return to normal? Right? That's kind of a measure of elasticity of your skin. And the younger you are, usually the more quickly it bounces back. So this is what we're looking at. So look down at the bottom here. At baseline, people were around 32.8. But after 2 months on the product, you could see that the skin elasticity had increased, became more youthful to a number of 41.4 from the 38. So this was a very nice experiment to confirm that it's not just a change that's happening at the genetic level, but that you can actually see it. We've received all sorts of awards for the work that we've done. We've done a lot of scientific posters, publications. When you think about the scientific articles on the age-lock science that we've done, that's down the bottom there. It's only 29. But as Dr. Sung will tell you, every publication that you do is a lot of work, a lot of science, a lot of review. This is peer-reviewed studies that were published. So 36 patents, lots of oral presentations and awards received. So I hope that that gives you an idea of some of the science that goes behind the golden triangle of products that we have made here at Nu Skin. So thanks everyone, and I hope that was interesting for you and gives you more confidence in the science behind the formulations that we have.
Wow, awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, it was a great sharing. And then in your way, we have, easier to understand the contents of a complex, scientific technology. Thank you very much. Well, yeah. Those are all amazing products. I love them all. And then I took it every day, as I know anybody else took it as well. Yeah, I love them all. It definitely helped. That's why I got a high score. Okay, so Dr. Mark, would you be able to take a few minutes to answer any questions? I mean, if you guys have any questions, yeah, great. So anybody have any questions? It's a great opportunity that you can have a Dr. Mark Browder to answer your questions right now, right here. Okay. Let me open.
Thank you, Mark. This is Pat Sung. thank you for coming on and really gave us a great presentation. Especially this is beyond your work hours, okay? Yeah, I want to thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Good to be
beyond
here.
the call of duty.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so lucky we are. Thank you, Dr. Patrick. Okay, so I see there is question on the chat box, so maybe you just take a couple of them, okay? Lisa, I guess, she asked, my 14 years old kid was attacked to, oh, your speech. Oh, that's not.
He's just saying even kids could understand, and that's important because you don't want it to be too complicated, right? So hopefully everyone understood okay.
Yeah. That's what I said. It's make us easier to understand it because before we think it's so complicated, you know. Okay. I see one question. Let's take for I see one question. So just one question here. How long does it take for a supplement to bring change?
Good question. Yeah, great question. So in the experiments that we did with animals, we fed for 3 months and we saw a dramatic change in 3 months, right? You saw from the heat maps. In the human experiment that we did with skin, you saw that in 2 months, we could actually see changes in the skin. Now, that means that, you had to have maybe changes in gene expression that then affected changes upstream or downstream in the skin. So we're talking, at least within a couple of months. We also did a study on the brain with this particular product, yet to be published, but very soon. But we showed an impact on the way that the brain communicates with itself and the way that it's able to remember things. Again, that was within 2 months. So some people do ask me though, Sandy, well, how long should I take this product? And I guess the reason they ask that question is because maybe they think, I can take the product 1 month and then it has reset my genes and then I'm good for life. But actually that's not quite how it works, right? The body responds, just like the Chinese restaurant, to supply and demand, right? What the customers want. And so, your genes need constant reminding about where they should be when they're expressing themselves in a healthy way. And the way that we remind our genes is through healthy habits. So it's not, actually we've learned it's not just about what you eat or not just about the phytochemicals that we discovered, but even stress and sleep and all of those other things impact your body really right down to the genetic level. So make sure that you are doing more than just taking supplements. Make sure that you're eating well, trying to sleep, trying to control your stress, whatever it is that you can do to help control stress, whether it's exercise, yoga, meditation, do all of those things. Even though we are a company that sells personal care products and wellness products, we always encourage people to have a more broad approach that we make it part of our lifestyle as well.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That's a good expression. Let's just take 2 more questions, okay? Because I know Dr. Marks is busy and then it's over your work time. Yeah,
no problem.
I appreciate that. So one more question is, there's a lady asked earlier that are there overlap of ingredients in these triangles?
Yeah, good question. Actually, not too much, but it's a great question because people often ask, am I taking too many of these Nu Skin supplements? I'm taking R Squared, I'm taking Youth, I'm taking Lifepak. Am I getting too much? So I want you to look at it like this. In medicine, there's something that they call the therapeutic window, right? It's sort of like the gap, the window. And, with drugs, you have to be very careful not to have more than is prescribed, right? Because these drugs have side effects. And so the therapeutic window is very small. Think of a cancer drug. The therapeutic window is tiny, even double the dose may actually kill you because it's quite toxic. Now, when you think of supplements, they are not drugs. They're not pharmaceuticals. They don't have a very narrow therapeutic window. Consider them more like foods. And so they have a very big therapeutic window. You can do a 2 or 3 times dose without having a side effect. Now, I say that, but let me tell you that our products have enough. You don't have to take more than is recommended. There is enough in those. But you don't have to worry about, I'm taking Lifepak and I'm taking this product, am I taking too much? Think of it like a food. A double dose of broccoli is not a problem, right? A double dose of protein, not usually a problem. So I wouldn't worry about the overlap and any problems there.
Okay, great. Yes. As I said, most of us are taking it every day. Okay. So I just took one more last question. Okay. Susanne, so would you share, a little bit on the upcoming new age lock supplement?
There's always a question about what's coming down the pike, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, are you talking about, I'm not sure what they're talking about. Is it the collagen product maybe that they're talking about? We have a couple. In fact, we have some very exciting things down there.
Yeah, maybe you just share this.
Someone said Meta. How do you know that? I thought that this was a secret. Yeah, let me share a little bit with you. I'm just going to give you some little bits because we're not sharing too much just yet. So if you think about our approach to, remember the 3 circles that I shared with you? So nutrition, antioxidants, gene expression. They're all very important parts of aging. What we are discovering though, it's very interesting. I've got a couple of minutes, so I'll share with you. 200 years ago, the life expectancy was not very high. Do you know why? It's mostly because of infectious disease, right? There was no such thing as antibiotics. And so child mortality and all sorts of, just the simplest thing would sort of really would kill people. So when Alexander Fleming discovered antibiotics, when Lister discovered antiseptics, this changed the world and it brought us to a new level of life expectancy. And then think about the next 100 years. We started to learn more about nutrition and about how important nutrition it was and making sure you get enough macronutrients, but understanding vitamins and minerals. And I think that this really also changed the world. When I think of the discovery of Australia, Captain Cook, he understood that sailors get scurvy because they don't get enough vitamin C. And you might think that scurvy, which was a terrible disease, your hair would fall out and your skin would bruise and your teeth would fall out. You would think that that was just another one of those infectious diseases, but it was actually caused by nutritional deficiency. So understanding nutrition brought us to a new level of life expectancy. So we can live a long life like Frank. But my perception is that now we are living comfortable lives. We are sitting in front of our computers for many hours a day, so we're not physically active. We're often eating too much and the food is unhealthy. And what this does is it changes your metabolism. So all of those biochemical reactions that are going on inside your body that are catalyzed by the enzymes, they start to get a little bit dysfunctional. And so we inside, even if we look healthy outside, inside we are not so healthy. So that is an area of focus that we think is very important. And maybe it's like the 4th circle. And maybe it's just a product that is, and a concept that is for our time, for our children and for us, because the way that the 21st century has changed the way that we live. So that's just a little quick insight into where we're going there.
All right. Okay, good. I hope that answer your questions.
Hello,
Okay.
Dr. Bartlett. Hi, this is Marguerite. I think
Hello.
there's a question. Hi, how are you?
It's great.
This is such a good talk today. It is amazing talk. Haven't seen you guys for so long.
I know. I miss visiting you in Maryland.
I know. Come anytime. We'll take care of you. So, okay, there is a question. With calorie restriction, would that cause deficiency in micronutrients?
It's a very
what does it
astute
mean,
question.
healthy aging, like Mark?
Yeah, well, you know, again, that was experiments that they did going back to the 1930s with Professor McKay from New York.
Mhm.
And when they talk about caloric restriction, it's actually caloric restriction with adequate nutrition. So all that work that those folks have done in that area always made sure that there was enough of the micronutrients. So, you know, they might cut down on the macro, the protein, the fat, the carbohydrate. Maybe that is lower. That's what caloric restriction is, but you always make sure that you're supplementing with enough of the micronutrients. So great question. You cannot ignore the importance of micronutrition, those vitamins and minerals. It goes back to that first circle, right? How important that is for keeping healthy aging.
Wow, thank you. Okay.
Poor,
Somebody
poor
97
translator. I'm so
year old.
sorry that it's a hard job for the translator. I can see she's working very hard.
Yeah.
She's
She's having-
谢谢你.
she's really
Ooh.
impressed. Okay. I see there is one very interesting question. Can I ask so?
Of course.
It's from Jen. She said some of our ingredients are 200 or 30 or 300% of the daily recommendation value. So would our body absorb it, or all the nutritions?
Another great question. I can tell that this is a very educated audience here today. So the answer to that question is that the daily recommended intake, it's called DRI. So, you know, the government does experiments and it says, okay, in order to prevent a deficiency disease, this is how much you need. And so, for example, vitamin C is 60 milligrams. And that's all you need to prevent the deficiency disease. But you can consider vitamin C not only as a cofactor for the enzymes that produce collagen in the body, that's how it prevents scurvy, but also as an antioxidant. And so we know actually that if you get 250 or 500 milligrams, your body can still absorb that and it will use it for other functions in the body. So, you know, the B vitamins, you can have several times the daily allowance that's provided to prevent deficiency disease, but it can still be absorbed and provide benefits. So every case is different. All you need to know is that our scientists have done our homework and we understand, you know, this absorption and the ability of their body to absorb. And when you are wasting your money by putting too much in. And so all of that science is wrapped in the products that we are providing for you. You don't have to worry about it, but it's a fantastic question. You know, and that's it. Your body can absorb. And, you know, you're right. At a certain point, you can have so much that it's wasted.
Okay, yeah. I hope that helped, Jen. Okay.
Great answer. Thank you so much, Dr. Bartlett.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I see there's two more last. Okay, two last questions. Okay. If there's a Kate asks, if I want to try as many products as possible, will there be positive effect if I try them all in 1 month?
Well, you know, I have kind of a scientific approach to it. So my answer would be, you know, just try 1 or 2 at a time and add on slowly. There's a couple of reasons for that. It's just like if you're fixing a car and there's a problem, you try one thing at a time. I'm not saying there's a problem with your body, but you try one thing at a time and you can kind of see the effect and then you can sort of move on to the next thing. And the other reason is that, you know, when people aren't used to taking supplements, sometimes they have sort of a GI effect, a little bit of an upset tummy, or maybe they get a headache. You know, they're not used to it. You know, even just, you know, I would suggest sort of go to the basics first. You know, choose one of the products and try that for a month. You know, maybe try 2 products. That's okay. But I wouldn't try them all at once. My general approach is that think of it like a wheel. And the center of the wheel we actually have, I've already talked about two of the products that are in the center of the wheel today, and that would be Lifepak and Youth. And then every other product is really kind of the outside. It's like a support product for that. So we have products like Vitality, one of the golden triangle, which would be for energy and vitality. Maybe you're concerned about your eye health because you're in front of a computer all day, or maybe you're starting to have impact on your eye. So we have an eye formula. Maybe you do a lot of running and your knees are, you think, well, I need to look after my knees. Well, we have a joint formula for that, and so on. So the center of the hub of the wheel would be the Lifepak or the Youth. So the best nutrition product, the best anti-aging product. And then on the outside would be all of the support products. So start with the center, and then as needed, you can add on the ones from the outside.
Wow, yeah, that great help. So they do, a lot of people asking, do I need to try all of them in one time? I said, yeah, now I know the answers. A better answer to, suggest them. Okay, I think people won't let you go. There's questions keep coming.
No worries. Well, I hope that I can come visit you again sometime and answer some other questions.
Yeah. Okay, one last, okay, because as I promised, there are two more. So some people don't suggest Cody Max for cancer patients. What do you suggest?
Well, that's a kind of a scary question, but maybe it's a good question to ask. So remember that when I have talked about these supplements today, I have talked about the body's health and supporting a healthy body. And actually, it varies from country to country, but in general, governments have about the same rules. And there are rules about how you can talk about our products. They're nutritional products. And in general, you can talk about how they support the body, the function of the body, and the structure of the body. In nearly every country, you can't talk about these products as curing disease, right? If we talk about these products and we talk about disease and curing disease, then we will get in trouble and the company will get in trouble, right? And that limits our ability to have an honest business and also to have a positive effect on our friends, our parents, our families' lives. So, always be mindful that we would never make a claim that our product will cure a disease. And the other thing is that if people have medical conditions, usually we say, you should talk to your doctor before you take this product. That's the safest way. If your doctor is treating you for cancer and your doctor says, don't take this product, then the patient should do that. And as someone who cares about people's health, even then, I would never say, don't do what your doctor says. Always never come between the person and their doctor. Now, a doctor might say, don't take Cordymax if you are having cancer. Personally, if the doctor didn't say that, that's not what I'm going to recommend. I'm not going to say that it will cure cancer because that's incorrect. But I'm also not going to say, hey, don't take that product because it's bad for you if you have that condition. Again, I don't know that there's any evidence that there's a problem there, but the person should talk to their doctor if they have a serious condition and get their opinion. And
Yes.
I do admit it's a tough one because the doctor doesn't always know. So some doctors will say, oh, that's just fine. And some doctors, because they don't know, will say, well, let's be cautious. Maybe you should not take it.
Yes. Yeah. True. That's true. I think for special case, and then you just do it case by case. It's
right.
Come on, for everyone.
Yeah.
All right then. Yeah. Thank you very much so much. Oh, so I guess people are still here. Can we take a photo first? Is our technology already? Yeah. Let's take a group photo. It's a great time to have you here.
A screenshot, right?
Yeah.
Screenshot. Hi, Mark.
Hi, hello.
Right here.
Yeah, hello, Patrick and Margaret.
We're here.
Yes,
Yeah, we're here. We had on two.
We got one of these too.
Okay, technology,
Yeah.
ready?
Oh, yeah.
Is it
Oh, you got
Leon.
one. Mark.
Leon, are you doing that?
Who's taking picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can take the picture.
Okay, Leon.
Okay.
All right, let us know. Hold your
Okay.
smile. Smile.
Okay, so please open all your camera. We take picture with us. Okay. Okay. And I count to 3. 3, 2, 1. Everybody hold for 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Okay.
15, 14,
Yeah, you can keep counting.
10, 9,
8,
8,
7,
7.
6, 5. It's a
5.
countdown for New Year's Eve. 4,
Yeah.
3,
3,
2, 1. Blast
Okay,
off.
done. Exactly.
That's fireworks. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah, exactly.
very
Right.
much,
Thank
Dr.
you,
Mark.
Mark.
Good night, Mark.
再见，
Good
谢谢
night, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Really have fun.
Thank
Enjoy.
you. Yeah. See you tomorrow, same time again here.
Yeah, same time, same place,
Yes.
Same channel.
same channel.
Yeah, same channel. That's so great. We have a wonderful gathering tonight. Thank you. Thank you all for joining
Thank you.
us.
Okay,
Okay,
Bye.
see you. Bye-bye. Good night.
bye.
Bye.